Sairam everyone, welcome back to the session 3. We'll start our session with prayer. Om Sai Ishwaraya Vidmahe Satyadevaya Dhimahi Tanna Sarva Prachodayat. Om शांति शांति शांति. जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय. Sairam sir, I now request you, without wasting any further time, to kindly take over. Sairam. So this will be live telecast, this session on YouTube.
Sairam everybody, good afternoon. It gives me immense pleasure to be here in the company of all distinguished scholars, students, to be sharing some insights about experiences in the world of investments, experiences that have transformed my journey from being a scientist to that of a venture capitalist, and experiences where through the work I was able to create social impact in the society, both in Singapore, India, and globally. Thanks to our beloved Bhagwan that he has given me an opportunity to be here and an opportunity to serve society through innovation. I want to dedicate this talk to my parents, without whom I would not have been here. My late father, who inspired me to take up the field of microbiology and biotechnology, and my mother, who inspired me to take up risks in life and to maintain the company of good friends, because of which I was able to essentially associate myself with the best of best and dedicate myself to the glory of not just the seva activity professionally, but also personally. My investments over the past 22 years have spanned across different aspects of life sciences. When I talk about life sciences, it ranges from biotechnology, medtech, digital health, pharmaceuticals, pharma services, and I'm an accidental investor in education. All this while, I asked myself a simple question. What is the role that I have to play? Is it the role of an investor? Is it the role of an impact generator? Or is it the role of someone who will basically balance the mix of both venture capitalism as well as impact creation? And one thing was very clear to me. As I evolved, I realized that the very purpose of life is sadhana. And the very sadhana of life is purpose. What I mean by that is, without a goal, without a purpose, life will not be of much use. And when I mean by life, what I mean by that is the essence of work. So whatever work that I've done so far, I have been able to maintain and sustain over the past 2.5 decades is only because of the passion for the science and the urge or the earnestness to serve society through social innovations. These are some of the companies that I have invested over the past in the field of biotechnology, globally across the US, Europe, as well as in India. Same these companies that have been invested in medtech space, digital health space, and education space. So over the past 23 years, I've had an opportunity to travel to various Ivy League institutes, universities across the globe, namely MIT, Stanford, Oxford, Cambridge, UCL, University College London, and several universities in Southeast Asia, China, and India. There's one thing that is common, be it east or west. You actually end up meeting amazing founders, amazing startup founders who have a vision, who have a purpose, who have a goal. My job as an investor has been to spot these diamonds in the making. And there are some diamonds that I've actually highlighted on this particular slide, whereby the founders have come from strong academic backgrounds. Strong academic backgrounds with very strong scientific zeal, not just to create disruptive innovations, but to make an impact socially. Some of them who have actually mentioned on this slide include the gentleman whose name is Rob Coffin. When I met him, he was an assistant professor in the Department of Virology at University College London. He, along with Philip Astley Spark, who was the chief financial officer of the company called BioX, and along with them, few other investors. They started the company BioX, which essentially was a pioneering in the space of cancer vaccines. Here you see the photograph of Prof. Bob Horwitz and the CEO, by name Steve Mento, from the US, who worked closely with Bob Horwitz to drive innovation in cancer-based therapeutics focused on apoptosis. You also find the picture of Alex von Gaben, who is one of the thought leaders from EMBO, European Molecular Biology Organization, the co-founder for a company called Intercell out of University of Vienna, and an influencer and a thought leader in biotechnology, a pioneer in the subject of monoclonal antibodies. Then you see this particular person out here, who is a chairman of Mylan Labs, one of the leading manufacturing companies, pharmaceutical manufacturing companies in the US and globally. Then of course you have our own Indian heroes, Dr. Anji Reddy. I had the good fortune of interacting with Dr. Anji Reddy, invested in Dr. Reddy Laboratories. And the interaction with Dr. Anji Reddy has been beyond that of an investor, and beyond that of just a mere investor, he's been a mentor to me in many ways, sharing not just the aspects of excellence in pharmaceutical innovations, but also personal experiences in terms of how to be a great, amazing philanthropist. Here there is a picture of Dr. Chava Satyanarayana, who is the chairman of Laurus Labs. We had the good fortune of investing when Dr. Satyanarayana was the chief scientific officer of Matrix Labs and the key inventor behind the entire process, innovation of citalopram, the key ingredient that is used in the manufacturing of multi-billion-dollar anti-infective drug, Celexa. So my dear friends, what do you actually learn from this entire slide is greatness comes not from just knowledge. Greatness comes from personality, humility, values. And some of the skills that I have highlighted out here are integrity, oratory skills, commitment, discipline, risk-taking abilities, and leadership qualities. I have never mentioned anywhere that he's a PhD or a postdoc or a Nobel laureate. That comes secondary. First and foremost, to be an amazing leader and to identify great founders, what I look for are the skills. And these skills are the soft skills that all of us must inculcate. We are blessed to be in this holy land, where I think all of us have been blessed to learn the best of best human values from Swami himself directly many a times. So the responsibility on us is much more than those who have not interacted with Swami. What are the other skill sets that are required to be a great founder? Is create value for investor. And when I say create value for investor, it means ability to raise capital. You need to learn the art of sharing your vision so that you're able to raise capital, articulate your vision clearly, focus on building a great business plan, follow corporate governance, maintain very high standards of integrity, and develop an exit strategy so that value can be created for shareholders. So it's a combination of both personal skills, soft skills, as well as professional skills that make a great founder, a great startup founder. The other point I would like to mention is that it is extremely important for us to have collaborations with industries. Only through collaboration with industry, value creation happens. And I'll be sharing more examples as to how those value creations have happened. In the case of two of my investee companies, BioX, which is a spin-off from University College London, their partnership with Amgen has been amazing, which led to the development of a cancer vaccine for myeloma. And now I'm happy to share that because of Amgen's intervention, the product has been launched in the market as TVEC. So if you Google TVEC, you will actually know the final details of all the product. And this has been a phenomenal unlocking of the value for a startup company like BioX, which is a small company from Oxfordshire that ended up basically becoming one of the heroes because they pursued quality science, they had a strong management team, and they were able to raise capital. Finally, at a crucial juncture, they were acquired by Amgen. Secondly, also in the case of Matrix Laboratories out of Hyderabad, the company was acquired by Mylan Laboratories. And what is important is that both in the case of Matrix, especially in the case of excellent process innovation, excellent product innovation, and a business model that was par excellent because of strategic mergers and acquisitions implemented, executed. At the end of the day, it's all about execution by the CEO along with the board to create unimaginable value for all shareholders. So these are some of the partnerships that have resulted in a lot of wealth creation, not just for me, but also for my shareholders. and for the organizations that I've been working for. Namely, one of the companies out here that is highlighted is called Quintiles. Quintiles, which is now renamed as IQVIA. It's a company focused on pharmaceutical contract research services based out of Raleigh, Research Triangle Park. Matrix I've already spoken, BioX has spoken. Renovo is into regenerative medicine out of Manchester. Idun, which is out of Boston, MIT. Acuity Pharma, which is out of University of Pennsylvania. Arpida out of Switzerland. EB Care in Singapore. And Agilix out of University of Connecticut at New Haven. You can see when you have big companies and when you have startups, the ecosystem flourishes. The ecosystem is responsible for value creation. The ecosystem and the partnerships between industry and startups is what helps to companies to grow. Now, what kind of startups should we be doing at Parthi? At Parthi, we have a dual responsibility, not just to be a startup founder, but also to be a beacon of hope to humanity, because that's what Swami has taught us, to be the best in human values. So we have a dual responsibility. So I feel that all of us who focus on academic commercialization or academic excellence must work with a vision and a purpose. So if you get into commercialization or if you get into startups, it must be for those serving society, not just for creating valuation and multiples of wealth, but for creating significant value for the society, for the shareholders, and for the common man. How do you basically identify a great startup? A great startup is one which has got a vision and a clear purpose. Together with the vision and the mission of a company, accompanied with the values, they define the roadmap of a startup. Let's take some examples. What is the vision of Google? Google's corporate vision is to provide access to the world's information in one click. Most of the vision statements are simple, easy to understand. They're big picture directions. What about Apple? The future of healthcare is in your hands. It's as simple as that. What about Happiest Minds, a company out of Bangalore? Their vision is to be the happiest evangelists for each other, customers and society. Number 2 is achieve a successful IPO. Be known in the company with the highest standards of corporate governance. Be recognized for thought leadership. And be a leader in social responsibility. The story of Happiest Mind is a very exciting story, started by a very young 70-year-old, 70, yes, you've heard me right, a very young 70-year-old entrepreneur who became a billionaire, not once, but twice, because of his work. First, he was initially the promoter for Mindtree. Then he left Mindtree after it became successful IPO. And then he started Happiest Minds. Happiest Minds went public. And today, I think it is close to $1 billion or $1 billion plus in terms of market cap. But what is important is the value system that has driven Mr. Ashok Shuta, who is essentially a great entrepreneur, founder, and also a philanthropist. Why do I say he's a philanthropist? Because recently he's in the news for having donated more than 200 crores to set up a brain research institute in Bangalore. So you have great, amazing potential to create value to society by generating wealth. So the wealth that you generate becomes much more meaningful when you have a purpose. Another example which I would like to share is about Tata Trust. As you all know, here the quote is, what advances a nation or a community is not so much to prop up its weakest and most helpless members, but to lift up the best and the most gifted so as to make them of the greatest service to the country. Quote unquote, Jamshedji Tata. So these are organizations, be it in India or abroad, which are at the pinnacle or the emblem of value systems with a great vision and mission. So now I come to the slide which talks about what are the key ingredients to build a great startup. Number 1, of course, vision. You need to have a vision as a founder, backed by a strong management team. Number 2 would be, you need to have a pool of board of directors, mentors from the industry, from the scientific background to guide you. Number 3 would be understand what the problem is and how big the problem is. Bigger the problem, bigger the chances of success. Number 4 would be the novelty or the disruption of science and the power of intellectual property. And last but not the least is your ability to raise capital and generate exits for the investors who are backed you. These are the 5 major important ingredients of a great startup. And this is what I look for before I invest into any startup. Now I mentioned about university industry partnerships because we are at a nascent stage of university industry partnerships. And you may ask, why do we require this? For the simple reason because of university industry partnerships, there are several advantages. Number 1 advantage is basically research partnerships. Your research program can be collaborated and work together mutually with an industry partner. You can also basically get to enjoy the best of infrastructure, shared infrastructure between the university and the industry. You can actually be a beacon of hope for academic entrepreneurship. Academic entrepreneurship is extremely important. It is one of the reasons of success of a startup ecosystem in the West. And in India, it's upcoming. We need to see more and more academicians become entrepreneurs with clear rules and regulations put in place, human resource exchange, and transfer of knowledge in the form of commercialization of intellectual property, scientific publications, and informal interactions. All this will basically be enhanced when you have a strong industry partner who come with a different background. So, but it's not as easy. But there are expectations to be matched because the way the industry works and industry operates, the ecosystem in which they operate, and the ecosystem in which the university operates are a bit different. So we need to bring the best of both industry and university expectations. So what kind of expectations? Industry expects that the university will come up with market-aligned courses, develop skilled manpower, solutions for concerns, and operational approach. Academic expectations are that they will get funding, they'll get support from the industry, equal partnerships, placements, and feasible goals. So we need to find a win-win formula between industry and university when you're partnering with an industry. So you have to bear some of these points in your mind when you actually work with the industry. And I'm a big fan of and a big proponent of university-industry collaborations, especially open innovation, open partnership, and open alliances. One of my recent visits to Cambridge University led me to understand how Cambridge enterprise operates. In fact, one of the biggest challenges for spin-outs and startups is securing the first check. So to avoid that pitfall, what University of Cambridge has done is they have given a seed capital to Cambridge Enterprise, and Cambridge Enterprise promotes innovations, spin-offs, startups to their own PIs, to their own researchers who want to basically do this by providing the first check. Like that, they ensure that the ecosystem is well established and well managed within Cambridge. Then pre-seed and seed funding are critical stages for entrepreneurs. They have got venture capitalists, they have got fellowships to essentially offer them pre-seed and seed technology, seed funding technology. Founder-friendly £50 million university venture fund, and Cambridge Enterprise Ventures invests from the balance sheet of the university, supporting Cambridge entrepreneurs and Cambridge companies. So very strong, well-knit, united ecosystem. If you go to Cambridge, you'll realize it's not that easy to go to Cambridge. From London, especially, it's a 2-hour drive. From the train, it's about 1 hour to 1 hour 30 minutes. And the only ecosystem that exists in Cambridge is the university itself. There's nothing else beyond that. But still, Cambridge has a phenomenal track record of producing 1 unicorn per year. So in the last 10 years, they have produced 10 unicorns. 50% of the unicorns are from life sciences. This is the power of the ecosystem. This is the power of the university industry collaborations that Cambridge has established. So guess what? How much does Cambridge contribute to the UK economy? You'll be surprised to know that Cambridge actually Cambridge contributes approximately around 29.8 billion pounds to the UK economy, just one university. And what is the division? The split is 23.1 billion from the university's research and knowledge exchange activities, 4.69 billion from the impact generated by spending of the university and its colleges, 716 million from the university's educational exports, 693 million from the university's teaching and learning activities, 587 million pounds from the impact of tourism associated with the university, 86,000 jobs created across UK. My dear friends, please ask yourself, where are you in this ecosystem? What is the reason for the ego that you have? The ego is because of that you are a Swami's devotee. The ego is because you are an intellectual knowledge scholar. The ego is because you have failed to create jobs and only been concentrated on yourself, knowledge to improve yourself and not look at the society. What is that reason why we should be proud of? And what are the critical components required for us to overcome our challenges so that we can become one of the best in the world? What does not exist here? We have a world-class education ecosystem. We have world-class policymakers. We have a world-class hospital. And we have a world-class teacher in the form of Swami. When the world is coming to Swami to learn his guidance, we as the students have a responsibility to contribute back to the ecosystem, not just in the form of saying Sai Ram, but in the form of generating real dollars, real wealth, real economic benefits, real jobs. Then only the society will prosper. Then only Puttaparthi will prosper. What Swami has done is Puttaparthi version 1. What we need to do now is unite together to build some great startups. An economic engine must be generated out of Puttaparthi. Puttaparthi must become the beacon of hope for humanity, because we are the best when it comes to human values, and we also have the ecosystem and the infrastructure here to make things happen, especially in the creation of viability of startups. So can we put a target to ourselves and say that in the next 10 years, we will be better than what Cambridge has achieved? What is our contribution to the ecosystem? What is our contribution to the GDP of India? What is our contribution to the GDP of the state where we come from? Please ask yourself. Let's look at Oxford. Oxford, again, a neighbor of Cambridge. The only life there is a university, far away from the London city. And essentially, what Oxford has done is also build an ecosystem. The value of the spin-out equity portfolio has doubled in recent years, rising from 68 million to 155 million pounds. Just the spin-outs out of Oxford University. So you see, Oxford and Cambridge alone, they don't have to rely on anybody, because they have got a self-sustained engine that is generating economic wealth through their knowledge and through their innovation. And we need to be like that. We need to basically understand the ingredient. These are very difficult places to survive. Let me tell you, I've been there, that's why. How many of you have been to Oxford and Cambridge? How many of you have heard about Oxford and Cambridge? You have heard. Thank you. So we must try to essentially be better than what we have been. As an industry co-founder of students in the CTT program, they see benefits in students that get insights into pharmaceuticals. So they have got various pharmaceutical industry partners coming in, and they partner. See, all the industry people will come and partner with you if you're good in science. So never compromise basic sciences. Never compromise your ability to think in an unlimited manner and create value, disruptive value. And when I talk about value, it is both economic value as well as intangible value. Intangible value here, it will be the impact that you create through your work. Earlier this morning, I had the good fortune of listening to Dr. Murli Ravi and his phenomenal work in the form of Gamma Knife. Outstanding product, outstanding science. little bit of navigation is required. And then very soon, in a span of 2 years, or maybe less than that, there will be a big story that can come out of this place in the form of Dr. Murli Ravi's work. And I think there are a lot of other entrepreneurs, other scientific entrepreneurs, who can basically look at achieving similar goals or bigger goals than this. Here are some of the records on paper. These are all from the annual report. How many of you read annual reports of universities? How many of you have read the annual report of our university? Handful of you. I want each and every one of you to spend your time in the library. I want each and every one of you to spend your time in the library reading books, reading annual reports, because that's how you learn. And compare, make notes, compare. You see what University of Oxford has done? 66 new patent filings every year, 34 million pounds in terms of their output or in terms of the revenue, 16 million pounds returned to the university, 652 industry contracts, 652 industry contracts, 853 clinical executive agreements, 20 new companies, 16 spin-outs, 698 million raised. These are statistics. What is our statistics? Saira? We must all understand that you are in the game of innovation. You are in the game of innovation, and innovation is not confined to Puttaparthi. Innovation is a global phenomena. Innovation is a global phenomena. So whatever work you're doing today, in whichever field, whether it is photonics or biological sciences or mathematics, it has to be for the global applications. Only then you will be able to excel and you will be able to survive in the competitive world. There are some examples that I've taken from Singapore. A-Star, where I've spent some time, is equivalent of NIH. It's the Agency for Science, Technology and Research based out of Singapore, where there are several thousand scientists who are working across different institutes, different therapeutic programs. And they have one of the most thriving hubs for creating intellectual property, innovation in Singapore. There's some of the heroes from A-Star who have actually collaborated with the industry, have raised significant amount of capital, and they've got different business models. Even when you talk to the industry, you must be wondering what kind of business model I should be thinking about. So here you can take some examples from many-to-one strategic partnerships, one-to-many consortia, one-to-one or many-to-many consortia. So you've got different business models to partner with. Either you can partner along with some other PIs, you can partner with one or two industries, or you can understand what is the problem statement, discuss the problem statement with the industry, and let the industry basically then give you a budget to work on that problem statement. Even that problem statement should be appealing to the industry, or you can ask the industry to give you a problem statement and then you find a solution for that. So your research orientation has to be navigated accordingly to what the industry requires. Not everybody is tuned to this kind of work. Those who are focused on basic sciences, good luck to them. They must pursue basic sciences. But those who are focused on applied sciences must look at excelling in industry collaborations for a win-win mutual benefit. Where does India stand? India is doing quite well. In the last 10 years, we have significantly moved up in the Global Innovation Index. So if you look at this particular chart, in the Global Innovation Index, well, of course, India is not in the top 10. Singapore has been consistently in the top 10, moving up the value chain. And then India is ranked 40th in the 16th edition of Global Innovation Index, and that's a significant jump from the 81st rank. Global Innovation Index looks at various parameters: patents, publications, startups, spin-offs, so on and so forth. So what needs to be done is basically for India is we have to improve more on branding, more on perception of how we manage intellectual property. We have to improve in terms of our ability to patent, regulatory hurdles, and empower academia. All of you must be empowered to get the necessary funding, to get the necessary grants for pursuing innovation. One of the areas that I emphasize on is women empowerment, because without women, the rise of women entrepreneurs and the rise of women scientists in science and technology, it is impossible to create a gender equality or an inclusive society. As what Nelson Mandela has mentioned, women empowerment isn't about making women strong. It's about changing the way the world can perceive their strength. That's what women empowerment is about. I would like to share some examples of social innovations which have created significant impact. Can we play the video, please? The first video. Sorry? This one. Full screen. Switch off the light. Increase the volume. It's a very interesting company that I've invested in. Its company is called Control Bionics, based in Australia. The founder is Peter Ford. Who is Peter Ford? He's a news reporter. He met up with Stephen Hawking. How many of you have heard about Stephen Hawking? Met up with Stephen Hawking, got inspired by Stephen Hawking, and he started this company called Control Bionics. Control Bionics has got a US FDA approved product as well as a EU CE mark approved product, which is called a neuronode. And this neuronode, what they do is that essentially they play an important role in people suffering from ALS, spinal muscular atrophy, cerebral palsy, and spinal cord injury. So without the movement of the limbs, because the limbs are paralyzed, they're able to essentially communicate through the computer to the society outside. This is a classic example as to how your innovation can create significant value and impact to society, especially to the disabled community. So we can think about ideas like this. And in this case, Peter Ford, not being a scientist, he's hired some good scientists around him to basically work on the neuronode technology, which is a patented technology. Next slide, please. Yeah, you can go to the previous slide. I think the video has come. You're able to play this? No? Okay, next slide, please. Another company which is a spin-off from National University Hospital. The people are from National University Hospital. The company is called EB Care. So there is a aging society in Singapore, Japan, Singapore, China, and even in India, still a young nation, but still aging is in something which is catching up in India also. Now, the issue is that when you have couples who are working outside, how do you essentially serve or take care of the elderly folks at home? So EBK has come up with a novel solution through a digital health platform where we onboarded nurses, and the nurses are deployed in homes through the app. Can play the video here.
very efficient in terms of matching the best nurses or best caregivers to our patients. We are very efficient processing the payments. We are very efficient in terms of getting all the online health records stored and kept secure.
EB-Care is very convenient for me, and I have the choice to choose which case I want to attend.
It allows me to view the nearby case, and it saved me a lot of time.
We want to be the number one online healthcare provider in Asia. Starting from Singapore, we plan to expand other Asian countries. We are very confident that we can do this.
I believe our home-based healthcare services could bring our clients great convenience, saving on costs and flexibilities.
So what do you think about a startup like EB-Care? Well, the good news is that the company got acquired by a hospital. So we as investors, we made money, but we also have the satisfaction that we were able to create impact in society in Singapore through EB-Care digital health platform, serving the elderly. Now we have got access to a world-class ecosystem here, hospitals. We are the best of best IT minds. So I think we should have more of such EB-Cares in India, serving the elderly population. And then when we serve the elderly population, you can identify specializations in areas where you want to serve, for male as well as for female, for mental health patients, and so on and so forth. So look at the problem around you, the society, the needs of the society, and then come up with appropriate solutions going forward. Next slide, please. Another company that I would like to highlight is the collaboration between US and India, especially in the field of medical diagnostics. There's a company which is based out of Portland in Oregon. Technology has come from Case Western Reserve University, focused on malarial diagnostics and sickle cell anemia. The founders are Patty White and Peter Gallen. When they met me in 2016/17, I decided that I would like to basically focus on frugal innovation and requested them to come along with me to India, did a collaboration with the Tata Group. And what they have seen is essentially a wonderful product that has come, which is not only portable, but also affordable. Can you play the video, please?
A child has sickle cell disease in Africa, only about 20% will see the sixth birth. We know for a fact that 96% do not get tested. And those then grow up getting pneumonias, sepsis. If they have the dual gene, they are actually more susceptible to malaria and die from malaria. The human toll is unimaginable.
There are definitely countries in Africa, where 25% of all child mortality is being caused by sickle cell disease. And if you can diagnose them, 70% of those kids would live. And if they're not diagnosed, more than half die by their 5th birthday. So, we're talking 750 kids a day are dying from sickle cell disease.
Close to 15,000 newborns every year come with sickle cell disease. For us, and for sickle cell disease patients, the first entry point is newborn screening.
The traditional diagnostic using HPLC or larger machines were only located in the big centers themselves. For example, in Ghana, you only find it in Accra and Kumasi. We would have to transport the baby and the mother, take a bus, take them to the city center, wait for a day or two.
Just like in India, the infrastructure issues in
So having
Africa.
the point of care diagnostic is good to revolutionize the number of patients
support.
we can screen and diagnose. And
So you see, they have looked at the problem statement. They have identified a solution for the problem,
Founder of
which is sickle cell.
Oregon.
And it took a women co-founder to understand the problem. Come all the way from US to India, partner with an Indian company, develop a product, and launch the product both in India as well as in Africa. This is a classic example of how you can partner with universities, innovative centers of excellence in the US, bring them to India, work with them in India, and market it for the globe. Another example is Ray IoT, a company out of Bangalore. 3 women entrepreneurs who wanted to basically focus on coming up with a non-invasive, non-touch, non-contact solution to monitor the breathing of newborn babies. An experience, a journey that they had with one of their close friends where a premature baby was delivered. So the doctors did not know how to understand whether the baby is breathing or not, led to some infections. And so that's why these founders have come up with a non-invasive, non-contact solution using AI-based signal processing. So while they were working on that, COVID struck. And during COVID, they came up with a new solution. Can you play the video, please?
Are you experiencing shortness of breath and fever? And did you know shortness of breath is the only symptom that differentiates COVID-19 from flu? Well, don't panic. COVID-19 is a respiratory illness that affects the lungs and specifically your breathing. You can categorize the patients on severity and who needs ICU facility by tracking breathing rate and fever. This is important for the task forces to predict and plan. With a continuing surge in COVID-19 cases, there's a greater risk of shortage of doctors and nurses with ICUs, and isolation wards falling short of capacity. Is there any solution? Yes, Ray IoT is non-contact, but Wi-Fi-enabled breathing rate, monitoring solution that helps you convert any space into a quarantine space with a clinical setting using artificial intelligence. Its centralized quarantine database feature helps to monitor more than 1 lakh patients simultaneously, using AI and intelligently placing them into mild, severe, and critical categories instantaneously. Is it reliable? Yes. It has undergone 500 hours of clinical trials, capturing variations in 7 billion breathing instances during fever, asthma, and sleep apnea with 98% accuracy. In this hour of crisis, it is a handy solution to avoid rush of patients, with doctors being able to monitor patients in severe and critical categories remotely through video and audio. And of course, being safer by avoiding contact with patients. Convert any space into a quarantine facility with our mini ICU units.
So these are some examples. Can you go to the next slide, please? Of course, we all know the story of BioNTech and the vaccines that has been created. But you know the story behind the couple, scientists? They had a lot of struggles and challenges as immigrants in Germany. They had to raise funds for their project work. And finally, when COVID happened, because of the relentless pursuit for science, they were identified by Pfizer and the rest is what they say is history. So you have to wait for an opportunity to come, and through that opportunity, be patient to succeed in science. But patience is the name of the game in science. There is no shortcut for success in science, and there is no substitute for hard work in science. This is one of the foundations that we support, started by Samina Bano in Uttar Pradesh, in Lucknow, where the focus is on minority children, social inclusion, ensuring that the programs and the policies set up by the government of India are rolled out clearly to the bottom of the pyramid, to all the children, so that no one is left out from not getting proper education. You think it's an easy job? It's not an easy job. Let's listen to the video.
मेरा नाम सीता है। मैं विकास नगर कन्हैयालाल पुरवा में रहती हूँ। तो मेरी लड़की जो है ये पानिया के पास से निकली तो वहाँ एक दिन रोने लगी, बोली कि मम्मी क्या हम भी कभी अच्छे स्कूल में जाएंगे।
पिताजी की बेटी का ये सपना शिक्षा के अधिकार अधिनियम यानी राइट टू एजुकेशन एक्ट के तहत पूरा हुआ। इस अधिनियम की धारा 12 के अंतर्गत सभी निजी विद्यालयों को कक्षा 1 या नर्सरी में 25% सीटें सामाजिक एवं आर्थिक रूप से कमजोर वर्ग के बच्चों के लिए आरक्षित करना अनिवार्य है।
इतना हम लोग गरीब थे कि हम अपने बच्चों को कभी अच्छे स्कूल में नहीं पढ़ा सकते थे। हम बिल्कुल हम लोग अब कभी आपका जो है शुक्रिया अदा नहीं कर पाएंगे। जिस तरीके से हमारी लड़की वहाँ से आके यहाँ पे घर पे रोई, हमने बहुत उसको समझाया कि नहीं बेटा ऐसा मत करो, कभी भी जाओगे अच्छे स्कूल में, अगर ऊपर वाला चाहेगा तो जरूर अच्छे स्कूल में जाओगे।
चाहे रिक्शा चलाने वाले का बच्चा हो या उद्योगपति का, दोनों एक क्लासरूम में साथ पढ़ सके।
फाउंडेशन द्वारा एक अनोखा पहल लखनऊ जनपद में शुरुआत किया गया था कि एक आइडिया पे हम लोगों ने ये भी ट्रायल किया गया कि जब ये टीम गांव पे पहुंचते हैं तो ये लाखों बच्चों को जब वैक्सीन करते हैं तो तभी टाइम में जो है राइट टू एजुकेशन के बारे में उन लोगों को अवेयर किया जाए, उनके माता पिताओं को अवेयर किया जाए, उनको एक पैम्पलेट दे दिया जाए ताकि उनको घर बैठे बैठे इस योजना के बारे में लाखों लोगों को समझ के अंदर अंदर जो सूचना मिल सके।
इस उद्देश्य को पूरा कर पाना इतना आसान भी नहीं था। यहाँ तक कुछ बड़े स्कूलों ने इसका सुप्रीम कोर्ट तक विरोध किया।
एक स्कूल जो है वो कॉलेज बहुत प्रेस्टिजियस है यहाँ का, वो हाईकोर्ट भी चला गया और उसने बहुत दिन तक इनको दौड़ाया और गवर्नमेंट को बहुत दिन तक मजबूर किया कि वो दाखिले ना होने पाए। अल्टीमेटली हाई कोर्ट के पास यहाँ डिवीजन बेंच में गए, सुप्रीम कोर्ट गया।
So you have got the message from Right Walk Foundation. What they do is helping children to get access to education through government support. And that's what Samina Bano. Samina Bano is not an ordinary professional. She is a graduate from IIM Bangalore. She could have actually decided to work in a well-to-do MNC, but she chose this particular path. And being a woman, she faced a lot of resistance. She has shared several stories with me, and I decided to support her in her endeavor to provide world-class education to children. Next slide, please. What I'm trying to share with you through these videos are that coming up with an innovative idea, you can actually be impacting society at a very large scale, just as Swami has done. Here is the story of Sheetal Mahajan. How many of you have heard of Sheetal Mahajan? Sheetal Mahajan is a skydiver from India, mother of 2. I'll play the video.
Congratulations. So you complete.
Yes, I completed.
So you see, that's what my role has been. I change. So when I started as an investor, I used to invest in business plans. I stopped investing in business plans. I now invest in founders and I change their destinies. That is my role. That is my purpose. And that is what keeps me going in my life. Till I die, I'll be doing this. Till I have the last rupee, the rupee will go to the service of society, to the service of founders, be it men or women, who have the ability and the vision to change. And be it in any field, be it in arts, be it in science, or be it in technology. And I want to show through my work that women are also equally important, in many ways superior, and they can do the same things what men can do. What we need to do is to create that ecosystem, and that ecosystem for thriving innovation, an ecosystem for platform for entrepreneurship within India and outside India. Next slide, please. So in India, what I've done recently, I set up a startup accelerator. The startup accelerator is my vehicle through which I make all these investments in India. We focus on boot camps, mentorship, market outreach, fundraising, business plan, and setting up advisory board members. So in essentially dressing up a founder's journey towards innovation and commercialization. We have partners both from Singapore, Sweden, Dubai. And recently we have signed up with one of the leading institutes in Delhi to help in translational research in deep tech, especially infectious diseases. And that's with Minister Dr. Jitendra Singh. My dear friends, what I would like to share with all of you, I hope that these videos and these examples that I've shared with you are examples to show that commercializing your innovation or thinking about commercialization is not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing, especially when you have a purpose, when you have a goal, and when you can define what your goal is with the help of the value system that Swami has taught us, that Swami has put us in this very special place. And all of us will have to work collectively. I come all the way from Singapore to help you as much as possible. But it is only 50% of the journey. The remaining 50% will only happen when you also come forward and step up. And with the help of very good leadership that you have in the form of our respected Dr. Baroaji and our Vice Chancellor, and of course, Swami, I think sky's the limit. Thank you very much, and all the best to all of you.
Sairam, the floor is now open for discussion. Any questions, queries, doubts? Please.
Thank you very much, sir, for such a wonderful and enlightening presentation. Out of all the products or the companies that you showed, I myself have a personal experience with Hemex Health, where a product called Gazelle. So in fact, I had an idea of actually screening the population in and around Puttaparthi for sickle cell anemia. So on that line, we were looking for such a simple device, because we are, as from the biosciences, we try to use something called as isoelectric focusing to look at different variants of hemoglobin. So, but it's quite an expensive technique and it's time consuming, and that's when we came across Gazelle, so which can do the same thing in a matter of 15 minutes and you get the result, and it will tell what is the ratio of hemoglobin, etc. So in fact, we were in the process of writing a project and get at least 2 such Gazelle instruments which are portable, put it in the mobile hospital, and then the mobile hospital goes from 1st and to 12th of every month, different nodal villages covering at least 700 villages, and then screen for sickle cell anemia. But unfortunately, the funding did not get through. We had actually invited Hemex Health, gave us a demo, looked at the Gazelle instrument, but we were not lucky enough that time. So probably through you, will it be possible, like probably put at least 2 instruments in mobile hospital to help the screening the population in and around. So that's what is my appeal to you.
Absolutely.
Sir.
What's your good name?
I'm Dr. Naresh, sir.
Dr.
And
Naresh.
I have a collaborator from Fakir Mohan University by name Professor Vishnu Prasad Dash. So what we were trying to look at is basically sickle cell anemia, even though it is a problem, in fact, it comes as a adaptation in tribal populations.
Yes.
Because tribal population.
Poorest of poor.
Exactly, sir. So they are exposed constantly to mosquito bites and etc. In fact, sickle cell anemia is incidentally a boon to fight against malaria, because malarial parasite cannot survive in patients who have that adaptation. But in other words, yes, even though it is an adaptation because of their continuous living in such an environment, but again, sickle cell anemia has other repercussions, and that's where screening for sickle cell anemia right at the beginning, and that would be a very nice initiative. That's what we
Very
thought.
good.
So
I would say we should set up a center for sickle cell anemia research in Puttaparthi.
yes, so
It should be within our incubator. You
Yes.
please send me an email with your background information.
yes, sir.
Your work that you're doing,
True, sir.
and
I
I
agree.
will do the needful from my side.
That will be great, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much, sir. And that was a very inspirational talk.
I think taking on this particular example, what we can also do is that we should set up a center for mosquito research or mosquito-borne infectious diseases. So if we can think about that, like say dengue is there, malaria, Japanese encephalitis. If we can pool a team of scientists,
We have a
researchers.
group from Dr. Vishweshwar. They look for the dengue. Dengue is also a very important mosquito-borne disease, which is quite
Absolutely.
dangerous.
So why don't the two of you collaborate?
Yes, sir.
And
Definitely.
come up with a business proposal for setting up this some sort of a center of excellence, or maybe a startup company, or maybe a facility where we can pursue some pioneering research. We need to identify such theme areas,
Yes, sir.
share with me, then I can bring experts in this field, be it in dengue research, be it in infectious disease research,
Yes.
so on and so forth, to build that competency. So when people come from outside, because we get people coming from Government of India,
Yes, sir.
we also get international delegates, world bodies, UN. We need to we need to showcase something to them, and that showcasing has to be our signature products.
Another important aspect which you mentioned, sir, which was quite interesting, I wanted to draw a parallel what's going on currently in Puttaparthi. That's regarding EP Care, excellent thing that you built up.
Yes.
So in fact, as an initiative of Sri Sathya Sai alumni, we have Sri Sathya Sai Palliative Care Center
Yes.
in Puttaparthi,
Yes.
which is in fact first of its kind in India.
Yes.
So the concept of palliative care is not at all known across India as such.
It's also there in Hyderabad.
Yes, sir. That's where from there we get a lot of trained personnel, and then we have Sri Gunaranjan, one of our alumnus, who is actually brainchild behind this.
Yes.
We had a simple idea of trying to help the population in Puttaparthi,
Yes.
where elderly people who really need such a care. So that's where so we started off with a simple what you call sort of so among students a small call center type of a thing, where if anybody has any such need, immediately they call that number and then try to get.
One is the hotline, the other is through
Hotline.
the help of digital health.
Yeah,
AI,
so that's where
artificial
probably.
intelligence.
Yes, sir.
Artificial intelligence, we can come up with basically solutions, digital health solutions, whereby we have access to trained nurses. The
Yes.
problem that I see in India is that you have access to caregivers who are not trained.
Okay.
So we need to train them, and that accreditation has to come. Accreditation has to be given. Once we have the accreditation, then the confidence level of the people to have access to such caregivers will go up.
Yes, probably if you have time, I would request you to visit the Sri Sathya Sai Palliative Care Center, which is currently running, which is an approved, and we have all very certified professionals running that whenever it comes, when it gets time.
Absolutely. Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, sir. Thank you very
Both
much.
are very interesting observations.
Yes, sir.
I appreciate.
Thank
What
you,
is
sir.
your own background?
So I am biochemistry, sir. I work on protein structure and function. So in fact, I too have some ideas which are I am right
Not
now.
present this morning?
No, sir. I am at the basic science level. I do
I'm also
have
at the basic level.
Yes,
only.
yes. So in the sense, I do have 2-3 ideas, which in fact one of them which we are pursuing is dopamine sensing. We talk about continuous glucose monitoring today in order to tackle the problem of diabetes, which is rampantly growing. The next idea, what I feel is we need also have continuous dopamine monitoring. Dopamine is something which is being cast upon by the social media, trying people, especially the youth of the entire world, has been made addicted to social media.
So instead of basically focusing on dopamine, what we can do is that we can focus on addiction.
Exactly. So that's where
Addiction and de-addiction with the help of both medicines and values.
Values.
Human values.
Oh, yes.
Because people who get addicted, I was sharing to Dr. Vishweshwar earlier that the biggest intoxication that I have is access to divine.
Exactly, that's true, sir.
When you remove DI from divine, you
Wine.
have access to people who only take wine.
True, sir.
So I don't drink, and that's one of the reasons because I'm already in the company of divine.
Exactly.
So
Sir,
there's no need.
There's a nice perspective which you
Addiction
sharing,
is
sir.
what addiction-based research is
Yes, sir.
something which we should pursue.
Because dopamine is something which, in fact, the social network, Instagram, they're all trying to catch upon this. Even YouTube, they're trying to look at the dopamine hungry people and then try to. That's where I thought probably continuous dopamine monitoring. That's one of our long-term goal. So probably we should
Thank you
have
very
a
much.
conversation. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Points for discussion? Anybody else? No discussion.
Sairam sir. Sir, at student level, how do we inculcate this thing? Because some of us, after coming to a certain level, either after PhD or being a faculty, we are able to think on these lines. But I think starting early can set up a lot of things. So what could be the path that we should adapt so that students start getting into this kind of a mindset?
Very good question. And I think I would like to take the opportunity to urge our policy makers, our authorities in Puttaparthi to think about introducing entrepreneurship at a bachelor's level out of the 4-year program or a 3-year program. I think here entrepreneurship must be compulsory 1-year program, not just 1 month or 2 months, but it must be a 1-year program. And based on the outputs of the entrepreneurship project, then a decision should be taken by the local authorities, whether they should fund or whether they should pursue into an integrated PhD program. Those who come up with innovative ideas at a bachelor's level should be encouraged to do integrative PhD and not just wait for the regular MSc, PhD, which will take about 10 years. The interest will die. That's number one. Number two is retain your talent at the MSc level and PhD level, but not allowing the students to leave the campus, because faculty members train their PhD students, and then because of lack of budget or termination of a contract or expiry of a contract, then that PhD student basically leaves and goes somewhere else. So entire effort that has been put by a PI or by a faculty member on that PhD goes waste, because after 2, 3, 4 years, the student is going away. We can avoid that from the University of Cambridge example, where they have set up fellowships for PhD students. You'll be very happy to know that my firm has set up Professor Ella Pragada Subbarao Award for PhD students with a patent. The idea and the intent is to support PhD students with a patent and continue to pursue their work in the place where they have done their PhD. That's number two. And number three is postdocs, who are the real CEOs of a company. They also should get fellowship, and I urge our Honorable Sir to essentially come up with these fellowships so that we can retain talent both at MSc, PhD and at the postdoc level, so that they don't go and the talent is retained. And this is a formula which has worked very well for universities like Cambridge and Oxford. Last but not the least, sir, one last point. is capability training. Who is teaching the softer aspects of entrepreneurship? What India has done so far is we have produced very good scientists. We have produced very good doctors. We have produced very poor managers of science. So who is basically having that curricula? And that's where Govin Academy, one of my academies, essentially we are pioneers in building that capabilities in the business of biotechnology, the business of biosciences, the business of management and technopreneurship. Sir.
In response to this presentation or this query, I must say that in the last academic council meeting, such a presentation was made from the institution's innovation council that entrepreneurship program should be integrated and intertwined with the regular curriculum of the university, so that in 4 years of undergraduate program, a student, by the time they come to 4th year, and if they are inclined, can pursue entrepreneurship as a specialization in the 4th year, and during their studenthood itself, they can be a founder of a startup. So this proposal was discussed, and then finally it is put to a special committee by the respected Vice Chancellor. Committee is asked to go through various issues related to that and submit a report so that such things can be adopted in our university, for your information.
Any questions? Any more points to discuss?
Saram sir, I am Ritvik Pandey, research scholar from the Department of Mathematics and Computer Science. And my question is, in your experience of evaluating various healthcare startups, what are the common pitfalls that you have observed that has caused promising research ideas to fail to transition from academic success to a commercially viable healthcare product? And what advice would you give to researchers to avoid these kind of traps?
Very good question, Ritvik. I think first and foremost is that one should basically get into the business of commercialization or the business of startup only if you understand what the problem is and how you're able to address the problem with the help of your innovation or the science. Many a times scientists find the solution first, then look for a problem. What I advise in business is you must first look for a problem, assess the problem, assess the size of the problem, and then find a solution. Number one. Number two is that the gestation period for any solution cannot be more than few years, because nowadays in this economic winter where there is hardly any capital coming for startups, people are expecting returns faster through investments in market or through investments in real estate. The challenges exist for startup funding, and hence we must have a very clear path to profitability. The path to profitability will help us in setting the expectation between the investor and the founder. Now it is very easily said than done, because in the field of biotechnology, healthcare, the path to profitability is quite long. But there are measures and there are steps taken that can be taken to generate revenues, and one of the steps that I have highlighted in my talk is through university-industry collaborations, academia-industry collaborations. I think we need to pursue that more and more aggressively. Last but not the least, building of a very strong ecosystem is extremely important, and that ecosystem includes not just industry and academia working together, but also access to venture capital, access to financing, because without financing it is not possible for the university or the institute to keep on funding. So you need to have access to capital, external capital, third-party investors. So we need to basically do our bit of promoting ourselves, digital branding. And earlier I made a comment about I would like to see more posts from this particular institute on LinkedIn, so that the world around us knows the quality of work, the quality of science, and the quality of research that are going on. These are the three important criteria. Fourth is, whatever innovation you're doing must not be just for the local market, but for the global markets. And look for partnership from abroad, because there they would like to partner with India, because India is now essentially known as a hub for innovation, not just a hub for low-cost manufacturing. And we are producing the best of best talent in the field of biosciences, biotechnology, information technology, artificial intelligence, and even quantum computing. The future of science is no longer working in silos. The future of science is about open collaborations through multidisciplinary research, multidisciplinary collaboration, so that you're able to excel and come up with solutions that will benefit mankind. So these are some of the suggestions that I've got to, for your point. And these pitfalls need to be washed out. Thank you. Thank you, sir.
We are coming to the end, sir. So before we close, I just want to make few announcements. First of all, we profusely thank Dr. Anand for spending his time with us today. Okay. And from the universities, on behalf of the university, we really thank him. And also, I want to make 2-3 announcements. That is, one is, as I said, university is on the path of adopting entrepreneurship as in the part of the curriculum. All the heads of the departments are in the committee. So all of you, if you feel you are excited and inspired by today's session, if you feel that it should be really pursued, kindly put words of your suggestions, your inspiring thoughts into the your HODs, so that they will pursue. And I think they are given 3 months to the committee to come back with the report, so that how such things can be adopted. Second thing is that university, as all of you know, recently we have our website of the institution's Innovation Council was inaugurated. Idea is that this micro website should be the gateway for the university and the rest of the world. University to announce the type of innovations, research that is happening within, and for the world to respond and react and reach out. So in that pursuit, we have already spoken to all the heads of the departments that every research group in the departments should prepare the innovative research that is going on, some write-ups with proper pictures and short videos, so that all those things can be hosted in our website and for world to see, react, respond, and reach out. That is one of the ideas. Thirdly, we have also informed most of the faculty and HODs that on 28-29 June there is a global healthcare conference, and we are proposing Institutions Innovation Council will host an exhibition of all the innovations that is happening in the university, in health, energy, in environment, in all the areas. So once again, we invite all of your ideas, and of course, it will need a lot of preparations. We have time. We have already given few deadlines to all the heads of the departments to abide by. So please pull your socks up. We have few things to do to go ahead in this journey of innovation and entrepreneurship from this university. As in the morning, respected Vice Chancellor said that we have, Swami has sent people like Dr. Anand to help us, assist us, and to take us forward in this journey. Thank you, sir. Thank you again. Please have your seat, sir.
I now request our Dr. Murli Ravi to concluding remarks.
Good evening, everyone. Sai Ram. I must share a small story here. It was about 8 months ago in Whale Tank Summit hosted by FABA at University of Hyderabad. I remember the room was buzzing. Startup founders clutched their pitch decks like sacred scrolls. Researchers looked nervous, excited, and there was a long line of people waiting to grab a moment with one man. Being from the physics background, I was curious and slightly clueless. and I leaned over and asked someone, "Who is this gentleman everyone trying to meet?" The look I got in return, let's say it was somewhere between shock and pity, and they whispered, "It is Anand Govindaluri." So as if that alone deserved a drum roll, the look was justifying that. Well, safe to say, I quickly found out why. And to think that the same gentleman who had a queue of founders trailing behind him is here with us today in this intimate setting, sharing his thoughts so generously, and it's truly special, and I can thank only Swami for that. Thank you, sir. What a day it has been, a day filled with insights, inspiration, and above all, a renewed sense of possibility. At the heart of today's workshop stood a compelling reminder that science, when coupled with strategic investment and visionary thinking, can truly transform society. And no one could have conveyed this message better than Dr. Anand Govindaluri. Dr. Anand, your journey from Temasek to founding Govin Capital, from investment to impact, and from the boardroom to the heart of budding innovators, it's nothing short of an extraordinary achievement. You didn't talk to us about attracting investments for research. You showed us how to have conviction, clarity, and compassion that can attract people, purpose, and progress. I personally found your emphasis on bridging science, business, and policy to be deeply resonant. As researchers, we often find ourselves working in silos and in our own disciplines. Today, you reminded us that the real breakthroughs happen when these silos dissolve, when ideas meet execution, and when innovation meets empathy. You reminded us of the truth which Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam very wonderfully put. Dreams are not what you see in your sleep, but dreams are those who don't let you sleep. Let us carry forward this spark that is ignited today. Let us turn our questions into quests and research into relevance. This is what Swami also said. It reminds me of what Albert Einstein once said: strive not to be just for a success, but rather to be of value. To our organizing team and IIC, thank you for making today look very seamless. Like most great innovations, your efforts were quietly brilliant behind the scenes. Let us carry forward the spirit of this workshop, not just as an event, but as a call to action. Let us nurture ecosystems of research that are not only academically rich, but socially meaningful. Thank you all once again, and thank you, Dr. Govind, and for all being the catalyst for this inspired dialogue. Sairam, sir.
Everything is because of Swami.
Sairam, sir. We just have a small session, memento, as a mark of our gratitude. We thank Anand sir for taking his time and participating and sharing his insights with all of us. Thank you.
Nice meeting. I can tell you one thing, that everything is because of Swami. Whatever I've achieved, whatever I've learned, whatever mistakes I've made is Swami, Swami, Swami. It's been 35 years since Swami embraced me. And I don't remember many things in the 35 years, but I remember how I first met, what he has done. I remember Sai Geeta coming and running towards Swami. When I close my eyes, I have a very beautiful sound sleep, because I remember all those beautiful moments when I used to come to Parthi. And there's one thing I have noticed. Every time when I came to Parthi, I was always made to sit in row number 1, when nobody knew who I was. I don't know why, but it always happened like that. And whenever I wanted an answer, or whenever I wanted a question, a doubt to be solved, Swami was always there. You only have to write to him and he will immediately answer within 24 hours. Even now I'm telling you, he saved my mother, he saved my wife. My mother got burnt in 2018. During prayers, and I was shocked. Because it was May 17, 2018. For 3 months, she suffered like hell. Because when you're burnt, you can't wear any clothes. And my mother was feeling very shy because I don't have a sister. So I told my mother that don't treat me as a son, treat me as your daughter. For 3 months, she was howling in pain. And for 3 months, I didn't know what to do. There was only one thing that helped me, because I was clueless. I don't know what happened. Astrologers were telling that she doesn't have much life to spend, and she will pass away very soon. And I asked Swami, what is this you have done to me? All of a sudden, my happiness has turned upside down. And you've given me such a heavy problem. So I didn't know. One day, I played Hari Bhajana, Bina Sukha Shanti Nahi. And in that howling pain, my mother started moving her finger like this. I saw that, and I realized that subconsciously she is enjoying the bhajan. And that bhajan, I played again and again, and again and again, so that she was enjoying subconsciously. Only Swami knows the pain I have gone through. Swami knows the pain my mother has gone through because of that accident. Even now, when I serve my mother, I treat her with the burn cream. It's been 7 long years. The good thing is that I called the astrologer, I scolded him, and I said, you told my mother won't survive for 3 months. But my mother has survived for 7 years now. He said, sir, I'll look back into your chart, and your destiny has actually obstructed the destiny of your mother. And that is because someone spiritually has been guiding you. And that to me is my answer as to why I have to pay my respects to Swami. Not because of the materialistic achievements, but because he helped me twice. Once in saving my mother. So what happened is that after 3 months of serving my mother, I got a gift from my mother. My mother, when I gave her the first bath after 45 days, she got up, and the first thing she did is she didn't go to God, she touched my feet. And that to me is the biggest gift my mother has given to me. And she said that every mother should have a son like you. I think today we all are here because of Swami's love, Swami's affection. And he will help us. When my wife was detected with cancer, the top-notch surgeons of Singapore, they were planning and mapping out the strategy for how to do chemotherapy and radiation. Like an innocent child, I didn't know what to do. I was applying vibhuti to my wife's forearm where she had the tumor. And when the tumor surgery was done, it was a complicated surgery because it was very close to the nerve. 4 hours it took. I just chanted Swami's name. I gave her vibhuti to drink and vibhuti sprinkled in her food. Then through histopathology, they take the tumor, they do it for 14 days. In the 14 days, I only know how I slept, how I didn't sleep. It was the most tense period of my life where I was not sure what was going to happen to my wife. And after 14 days, the doctor calls me and says that there's no malignancy in the tumor. So what happened to all those big pundits? So my dear friends, what I'm trying to tell you is that there will be big pundits, there will be big people, there will be big scholars who will predict your downfall. Just smile, because as long as you hold the hand of Swami and Swami holds your hand, we don't have to worry for anything in life. Sai Ram, brothers. Sai Ram, everyone. So that is the reason why I've come here. I've come here not because, of course, Dr. Pallavaro has, I'm also stressed because the Honorable Vice Chancellor has given me a title which I don't deserve. And then I asked him, when are you going to call me for the session? He said, my daughter is getting married. So I wanted to visit when his daughter was getting married, but he was busy with that marriage celebrations. Then I called him again, said, okay, now I think for Swami's Aradhana Mahotsvam, you can come. And so now I got an opportunity to interact. I feel relieved now. Now I can sleep well because I've done justice to the title that has been given by this institute. Because whatever you get in life, try to justify that. And don't try to do anything for anybody. Just do it for Swami. That's more than enough. All your problems will be solved in life. Thank you very much. And I'm a living example for that.
Sai Ram sir, we'll now have Aarti. I request Anand sir to give Aarti to Swami. Please, 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 sir.
Om Jai Jagadish Hare Swami Satya Sai Hare Bhakta Jana Samrakshaka Bhakta Jana Samrakshaka Parti Maheshwara Om Jai Jagadish Hare Shashivadana Shrikara Sarva Pranapate Swami Sarva Pranapate Ashrita Kalpalatika Ashrita Kalpalatika Apad Bandhava Om Jai Jagadish Hare Mata Pita Guru Devamu Mariyantayu Nive Swami Mariyantayu Nive Nada Brahma Jagannatha Nada Brahma Jagannatha Nagendra Shayana Om Jai Jagadish Hare Omkara Rupa Ojasvi O Sai Mahadeva Satya Sai Mahadeva Mangala Arati Anduko Mangala Arati Anduko Mandara Giridhari Om Jai Jagadish Hare Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Om Jai Sadguru Deva Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Om Jai Sadguru Deva Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Om Jai Sadguru Deva Om Shanti 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 Samastalokaah Sukhino Bhavantu Samastalokaah Sukhino Bhavantu Samastalokaah Sukhino Bhavantu Om Shanti 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 जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की जय।